Hello, friends. Welcome back to a special undead edition of Commander Dive. Today, we're taking a look at an Esper Commander. Let's get into it. As always, I'm Adam. This is Commander Dive. Today's commander is Varina, Lich Queen. It's a 1 white, blue, black zombie wizard 4/4. Whenever you attack with one or more zombies, draw that many cards, then discard that many cards. You gain that much life. You can then pay to exile 2 cards from your graveyard, create a tap 2/2 black zombie creature token. So what is this deck? This is a recursion deck. Well, you could have guessed that. But it's also a zombie deck. So this is all about zombies and creating zombie tokens. And let's take a look at that first category. Tokens. The first token card we got here is Wand of Orcus. This is a 2 and a black for an equipment. It says whenever equipped creature attacks or blocks, it and zombies you control gain death touch until end of turn. So this will give all of your zombies death touch, which is going to come in handy. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, create that many 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. Cost 3 to equip. This is a really strong card. Over duration of a game, you should be able to rack up quite a few tokens with this, and it also gives you death touch, so your opponents obviously aren't going to want to block it. Next up, we've got Necromancer's Covenant. This is 3 white, black, black. When it enters, exile all creature cards from target player's graveyard, then put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield for each card exiled this way. Zombies you control have lifelink. So with these 2 cards, now you got Death Touch, you got Lifelink, you got a bunch of zombies. So between these 2 cards, you're going to have an army of the undead. This is an awesome card. Love this card. An older one, it's never been reprinted. And yes, it's 6, so it's a little expensive, but a really cool effect. Next up, we have Endless Ranks of the Dead. This is 2 and 2 blacks. And at the beginning of your upkeep, you create X, 2/2 black zombie creature tokens, where X is half the number of zombies you control. So the more zombies you create, the more you're going to get at the beginning of your end step. Really cool way to win more. It's just a win more card. It's really going to help you take off pretty early in the game. Next up, we have Army of the Damned. This is 5 and 3 black pips. Create 13 tap 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. So if you aren't wide enough, this is definitely going to get you there. You can actually flash it back for 10. However, this is just a late game card and a finisher. Really cool way to get a whole bunch of zombies. Next up, we have Curse of the Restless Dead. This is 2 and a black. You enchant player. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under enchanted player's control, you create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with the K. So that means when it attacks, you have to sacrifice it after the attack phase. I love this because you can put it on a landfall deck. So a player running landfall, and you're going to rack up a whole bunch of zombies. They're not going to not play lands. All right, now we have a blue card, Havengoal Runebinder, 2 and 2 blue pips. You can pay 2 and a blue, tap this, and you exile a creature card from your graveyard. You create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. But here's the great part. Then put a 1/1 counter on each zombie creature you control. So you can turn all your 2/2 zombies into 3/3 zombies. This sticks on the board long enough, and your Army of the Undead is going to be unstoppable. Now we have Open the Graves. This is 3 and 2 black pips for an enchantment. It says whenever a non-token creature you control dies, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. So we have a lot of zombies that aren't tokens, so whenever one of those dies, it gets replaced with a token. Really cool way to make sure your army just doesn't disappear and you keep a board state. All right, now we have Necro Duality, 3 and a blue. Whenever a non-token zombie enters the battlefield, create a token that's a copy of that creature. So all those non-token zombies that you're playing, you're going to get 2 of them. Really cool ability and really great in this deck. All right, now we have God Eternal Octra, 3 and 2 white pips. It's got double strike. It's a zombie god, 3/6. Whenever you cast a creature card, create a 4/4 black zombie warrior with vigilance. And then whenever this dies, you put it into exile, and then you can put it into your library third from the top. So you can keep drawing this card. A really strong card. 4/4 of zombies with vigilance is really strong. And that is the end of the token category. Let's move on.
I can't bring people back from the dead. It's not a pretty picture. I don't like doing it.
All right, I promise this is the last deck for a while. If you're watching all my videos, you know I've been doing a lot of graveyard recursion. This will be the last video that I do for some time. I'm not saying I'm never going to do another recursion deck. It's just I'm kind of getting burned out on making recursion decks, so I'm excited to move on to some different stuff. All right, so our first card here is Mycus the Unhallowed. Is 3 and 3 black pips, and oh my goodness, this version, the art on this is beautiful. This is what I would call beautiful. Probably not to a lot of other people, but I love the colors on this card, the contrast, the sharp lines, everything about this card. I love it. And speaking of, this deck is my bling deck. So this is why I'm picking this deck to feature. I'm going to show a lot of really cool art pieces in this because that's what this deck is going to be for me. It's going to be all the secret layers. It's going to be all the alternate arts, extended arts, different things like that. I'm going to bling this deck out. So I'm really excited to show it off and kind of build it here soon. This will be the next deck I actually build. Who is Mycus? Mycus is a zombie cleric. I'm probably saying that wrong. I apologize. It's a 5/5 with Intimidate. Whenever a human deals damage to you, destroy it. Other non-human creatures you control get +1/+1 and have Undying. So your zombies are going to have Undying and they're going to have +1/+1. And it says whenever a creature with Undying dies, if it had no 1/1 counters on it, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with a 1/1 counter on it. So these are +1/+1, but they're not counters. So just make that clear. So anytime one of your zombies dies that is not a token, it's going to come back with a 1/1 counter, and that's going to get an additional 1/1. So really awesome card in a zombie deck. All right, now we have Ratadrabik of Urborg, 2 white, black for a zombie wizard, 3/3, vigilance, ward 2, so hard to remove. Other zombies you control have vigilance. So now we've given our zombies death touch, lifelink, and vigilance. Our zombies can be very strong given the right cards. It says whenever another legendary creature you control dies, create a token that's a copy of that creature except it's not legendary, and it's a 2/2 black zombie in addition to its other colors and types. So a perfect example of this would be Mycus, the card we just talked about. So even after it dies, it'll come back as a 2/2 zombie token, and you're going to continue to get Undying. Your zombies are going to continue to get +1/+1. Just a really strong ability on this zombie deck and great synergy. So next up, we have a card I actually just acquired. This is one of the first bling cards that I got for this deck. It is Rot Hulk, and this is from the mystery set that came out. I was lucky enough to be part of a draft with the mystery booster too, and my buddy actually picked this up, and so he traded it to me. I still have to give him something of equal value, but I was really excited to see this card. It's 5 and 2 black pips. It's got the cool border, and it's got menace. It's a 5/5. When Rot Hulk enters the battlefield, return up to X target zombie cards from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the number of opponents you have. So the cool thing about this card too is I actually learned that the only way to get this card before this was reprinted was you could buy it secondhand, but when it first came out, it was only available in a magazine actually. So it's got kind of a really cool history. This version's got a really cool border, and I was really happy to pick this one up. Just cool story and a great card for any zombie deck. All right, now we have Savine's Reclamation. This is 2 and a white. There are plenty of low-cost creatures in this. So it says return target permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard, so it doesn't even have to be a creature, to the battlefield. If this spell was cast from a graveyard, you may copy that spell and may choose a new target for the copy. So flashback is a 5, so you can get 2 of something if you cast this from your graveyard, or you just get something back onto your battlefield. Really cool recursion spell in white. All right, here is another bling card. This is Liliana's Death Majesty. It says death is no excuse for disobedience. Really cool art. It's got 3 and 2 black pips, a 5 loyalty planeswalker. Your +1 is create a 2/2 black zombie and mill 2 cards. Your -3 return target card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That creature is a black zombie. Well, it's already a zombie probably. In addition to its other colors and types. And then -7 destroy all non-zombie creatures. This is probably the epitome of zombie planeswalkers. Really great zombie planeswalker here, and really cool art on top of it. I can't get over the art for a lot of these zombie cards. This was probably the inspiration for this deck. And I chucked in here as many as I can, like I said. All right, next we have Rise of the Dark Realms. It's 7 and 2 black pips. It says put all creature cards from all graveyards on the battlefield under your control. This is from the same secret layer. It says lock your doors, they're coming home. Love the art on this, of course, and a really, really strong effect if you can get it out. Very expensive mana-wise, and yeah, got Liliana on the front, so... Moving on, we got another secret layer card. This is Nobi's Incantation, aka Zombie Apocalypse. This is 3 and 3 black pips. Return all zombie creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield, tap, then destroy all humans. So basically any humans die, and then you get your whole graveyard back. So very similar to Rise of the Dark Realms, except it's just your stuff. You're probably gonna have the most stuff anyways, but anyway. So that is the end of our recursion. Let's now talk about ramp. So normally I don't feature ramp cards, but I thought I would do something a little different here. Let's get into the first card. It's Lotho, Corrupt Sheriff, for a white and a black. Halfling Rogue. It's a 2/1, and it says whenever a player casts their second spell each turn, you lose a life and create a treasure token. So great way to just get a bunch of treasures early in the game. And with stuff like Rise of the Dark Realm, you're going to want those treasures. All right, now we have a bling card from MH3. This is Warren Soul Trader. It's 2 and a black, pay a life, sacrifice another creature, create a treasure token. So you can sack those decayed zombies before you have to sack them, sacrifice them to the effect. You can actually sacrifice it with this and get a treasure for it. So really cool way to get some extra value. All right, now we have Crowded Crypt. This is a 3-cost mana rock for zombies. It's 2 and a black. You can tap it for a black mana. It says whenever a creature you control dies, put a corpse counter on Crowded Crypt. Then you can pay 4 and 2 blacks, tap this, sack it, create a 2/2 black zombie creature with decay for each corpse counter on Crowded Crypt. So you get a bunch of zombies, you get this out early, and it can be used as kind of like a finisher late in the game if somebody doesn't remove it. All right, moving on, we have Rooftop Storm. This is 5 and a blue for an enchantment. It says you may pay 0 rather than pay the mana cost for zombie creature spells you cast. So that's like all zombies in your hand. So that's make chaos, that's, you know, anything that says zombies on it, so you can get some big stompers and just lots of stuff out of your hand and swarm a board, especially after a board wide playing. Something like this can be really good if you got a full hand. All right, now we got a blinged poster card. This one is Black Market Enchantment. I'm sorry, Black Market. It's an enchantment for 3 and 2 blacks. This is a secret layer. It says whenever a creature dies, put a charge counter on Black Market. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, add black for each charge counter on Black Market. So we have a lot of big black spells, so having this on the field can get us a lot of black mana, and I love these poster cards. Poster cards are awesome. All right, that is the end of the ramp category. Let's look at draw. All right, the first draw card here is from Bloomborough. I love talking about this card. It's Caretaker's Talent. It's a 2 and a white for a class, and it says whenever one or more tokens you control enter, draw a card. So creating lots of zombie tokens, so we're going to get to draw a ton of cards. But this ability triggers only once each turn. That's still really good. You can then pay 1 to take this to level 2. Level 2 says when this class becomes level 2, create a token that's a copy of target token you control, so you can create another zombie. And then if you pay 4 creature tokens you control, get +2/+2. So an awesome way to make our zombies even bigger. All right, here we go. A new Foundations card. This is an alternate art for a Liliana Planeswalker. This is the Dread Horde General. I love that this is a border breaker at the top there, and just the zombies. It's got the old school looking zombies in the background, and it's 4 and 2 blacks, 6 loyalty. It says whenever a creature you control dies, draw a card. So you're gonna draw a ton of cards. You're gonna lose a ton of zombies. Create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. It's a +1. Your -4 is each player sacrifices 2 creatures of their choice. Awesome way to do some removal. And then you're -9. So that means this has to stick on the board for at least 4 turns to get this. Each opponent chooses a permanent they control of each permanent type and sacrifices the rest. So basically a board wipe. I really just love this for the art and for the +1 and the -4. I don't know that the -9 is going to come in super handy. I guess you can get more zombies out than other people if you have a great token generator on the field. You know, your turn, you're going to create a whole bunch of zombies. Everybody else is going to have a much harder time getting their stuff back if they're not playing token decks. All right, moving on here, we have Empty the Laboratory. It's an X blue sorcery. Sacrifice X zombies, so you can sacrifice a whole bunch of tokens. That's what I would do with this. Then you reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a number of zombie creature cards equal to the number of zombies sacrificed this way. So you can turn your tokens into permanents. Put those cards onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So this is going to get you huge value if you can get an army of tokens on the board. All right, here we go. Now we're talking about Wilhelt the Rock Cleaver, an amazing commander in his own right. He is 2 blue-black, zombie warrior, 3/3. It says whenever another zombie you control dies, if it didn't have decay, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with decay. So you get to change out tokens that don't have decay for tokens that do. So you can go with the right cards, you can go from a zombie to a zombie token to a zombie token with decay. Man, this can be a really punishing deck, and it feels really zombie-like, right? Like you are going to overrun your opponent and your zombies are really hard to kill. This also says at the beginning of your end step, you may sack a zombie if you do draw a card. So a card draw engine, awesome card. All right, now we have Midnight Reaper. I love this. This is a secret lair card. It's 2 and a black for a zombie knight, 3/2. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, it deals 1 damage to you and you draw a card. I love this. It's a creature. It's Phyrexian Arena almost in a way. I guess not as good as Phyrexian Arena because you got to lose a creature. You're going to be losing creatures like crazy. Just a really cool card. You could put Phyrexian Arena in here instead, I guess, but this one's cooler. Even if it's worse, sometimes the best card is not always the right card, right? So this is a blinged out deck. I'd rather play a blinged card, a creature card here with cool art and fits my theme than min-max my deck. You don't always have to min-max every card in your deck. Sometimes it's just better to have fun. Remember that, guys. All right, that's the end of that category. Let's look at everything else. So what is white-black without a little bit of aristocrats, right? So we have Wayward Servant. This is white-black. Whenever another zombie enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. It's a 2/2. Also, it's one of the only white zombies that's actually any good, so reason to put it in this deck. All right, now we have Shepherd of the Rot. I love this card. 1 and a black. You tap it. Each player loses 1 life for each zombie on the battlefield. I haven't played this deck, but I don't see it really crazy to get 20 zombies out. Like, all of these zombie generators, like, and seriously, a 2-cost zombie that can just win you the game in 2 turns, like, that's crazy. This is a cool card and one that can, even late game, give you tons of value. All right, now we have Lord of the Accursed, 2 and a black. It's a 2/3 zombie. Other zombies you control get +1/+1, so an anthem effect. Then you can pay 1 and a black, tap this. All zombies gain Menace. All right, so let's go through our list again. We got Lifelink, we got Death Touch, we've got Vigilance, and now we have Menace. As you can imagine, our zombies can be very powerful given the right combination of cards. And I really like the art in this one. It's very unique compared to a lot of zombie cards. All right, now we have Undead Alchemist. This is 3 and a blue for a 4/2 zombie. If a zombie you control would deal combat damage to a player, instead that player mills that many cards. Whenever a creature card is put into an opponent's graveyard from their library, exile that card and create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. If you can pump this up, I don't know that we have any way to pump this up, but even if you're just, hitting for 4 every turn, and they're milling 4 cards, are probably going to hit 1 or 2 creatures. You're getting a zombie every time and you're exiling those creatures. This is a really cool card. I really like this kind of unique spin and a little bit different mechanic compared to a lot of zombies. All right, now we have Vizier of Many Faces. 2 and 2 blue pips for a shapeshifter cleric. It says you may have it enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield except it was embalmed. The token has no mana cost. It's white and it's zombie in addition to its other types. Really cool ability here. Embalm, 3 and 2 blue pips. Only time I've ever seen this keyword. I have to go out and look and see if there's other cards with this, but embalm for 3 and 2 blue pips. Very Egyptian sound looking card, and just a unique keyword, man. Make he embalm to create a zombie clone. Like, come on, a zombie clone. I don't care if it's white. We're in white, so it works here. And yeah, visor of the many faces. So we have Bone Miser, 4 and a black. It says whenever you discard a card, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Because our commander lets us draw and discard, this is going to be really good to create. And there's not a lot of synergy with the commander. I really went with the commander that I did because it's a value engine, and also it works well for zombies. And lastly, because it's got white in addition to blue and black, so it gives us a little bit, gives us more access to more cards. Really, is what it comes down to. Whenever you discard a land card, add 2 black pips. Whenever you discard a non-creature, non-land card, draw a card. I love the value this card gives you. It's just going to, depending on what you discard, you're getting a zombie, or you're getting 2 black pips, or drawing a card. Like, I can't think of many cards to give you as much value as this for 5 mana. And also on a 4/4 body, that's not bad either. And he's got the zombie creature type. I don't know. This card's kind of busted. We have Grim Grin, who is a legendary 3 blue black commander. It says it enters tapped and doesn't untap during your untap step. You can sacrifice another creature to untap it and put a 1/1 counter on it. When it attacks, destroy target creature defending player controls, then put a 1/1 counter on Grim Grin. So basically you get this guy out, and then he is going to build up a ton of counters very quickly, and is basically forces your opponents to deal with him, or he kind of just takes over the game. I love these Creep Show secret lairs. I wish I would have bought these. However, I never did. Luckily, they aren't super expensive price-wise. All right, so let's talk about the total cost of this deck. So it's $795.72. This is a very expensive deck to build, and I'm going to be building this for a long time. So don't expect to see this on the channel anytime soon, but I'm just going to kind of buy cards here and there as I can afford them, maybe 1 or 2 a paycheck, and start with the most expensive ones and work down, or vice versa, work and buy a bunch of the cheap cards and then slowly work on the more expensive ones. That's usually how I like to do it. So I'll probably be building this deck along with, 1 or 2 others. I have an idea what I want to build next. It is the Ninja deck that I actually just did a video on. I'm going to actually put a card up here. Really excited to build that deck, and check that video out. And while you're here, if you could take the time, smash that like button and give me a subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And that's the end of the video, guys. Thank you again for your time, and I'll catch you in the next one.